Admit all. Hi, everybody. Hey.
Hello. There we go. Hi, everybody.
Hey. Oh, I see everyone's unmuting. It's so nice to see everybody virtually. Hey, Lauren, I'm going to introduce you now since people are just dropping on in. Yay. Hi, this is Lauren, proprietress of A Girl and Her Wool. She is our very first local dyer, do our very first local dyer trunk show with us. Hooray.
Yay.
Has everybody gotten a chance to look at her lookbook?
Yes.
So you can kind of have an idea what her style is. I think what I call it, it's subtle, but with a wow factor. You know, and if you kind of like, I'm just gonna say it, I'm kind of obsessed with her rose gold. I don't know what it is about those kind of metallic but organic colors that just does it for me. But she has so many things to show you today. Lauren, take it away.
Thank you, Lisa. Hi, everyone. So I am Lauren from A Girl and Her Wool, and I just want to say thank you all for being here. I know this is strange times we're all living through, and I'm really glad that this whole virtual trunk show worked out. So thank you, Lisa, for sticking with me through all this. And yeah, so I have lots of yarn to go through with you guys today. And if you have any questions, please use the chat feature. We're gonna, try to keep our eye on that. And if you see a question and you know an answer to something, please answer for us. We'll appreciate that too. And I do want to say we are recording this, so keep that in mind. We're going to have this up on social media for a couple weeks, so we are recording it. And yeah, so do you want to bring up the slideshow?
Yes, I will.
Awesome. So while we're doing that, again, so I have my hand-dyed yarn shop. So I have lots of fun colorways and gradients, and we have yarn kits as well. Something cool about my shop, if you don't know like a little bit more about me, is I offer my skeins in any size. To keep things kind of simple today, we are offering skeins in normal 100-gram skeins, but that is something about my shop I just wanted to let you all know about if you don't know yet. And I just want to make sure I bring up the chat box here too.
Sorry, I had a small malfunction. I'm going to take care of that and then bring the slides back up.
Okay. Yeah, we put together some slides for everyone just so, it is like a very cloudy day out there with lighting and everything. We just wanted to make sure we had pictures up so you guys could see everything clearly. So hope you're all doing well. I don't know if anyone's chatting. No. All right. Should I just start showing yarn?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's start showing the yarn. So I have them here. You can see we'll go kind of down the line here, and I'll try and keep, I'll talk quick, but if you need me to go back through anything, let me know. So I have some good spraying colors that I want to start with first, and then we have some kits that we'll get into later. Oh, we're going to talk about bases first, actually. See, this is why we have the slideshow up.
Yeah.
So I have 3 bases that you guys can choose everything from. So I have 2 sock yarns and 1 DK weight yarn. So my 2 sock yarns, I have one, and I'll just hold this one up again. So I have a regular sock yarn, which is a superwash merino nylon blend. This technically is a light fingering yarn. You do get a lot of yardage per skein, which means it's a thinner yarn. So if you like thin sock weight yarns, this is definitely for you. The superwash in here makes this so soft. The sweater I'm wearing is my sock base. It's totally wearable. It's soft, not itchy, super comfortable. The nylon makes a great sock yarn. So this is a great base. I've had this since day one in my shop. The other base that I have is the BFL sock base, which I have on some minis here. This is a BFL yarn. If you don't know what BFL is, that's Blue Face Leicester. Merino and blue-faced Leicester, those are breeds of sheep. BFL is known to be a sturdier yarn than Merino. Merino is very soft, but don't get me wrong, this is plenty soft. But if you like sturdier, thicker sock weight yarns, this one is that. This is a true fingering weight yarn, and both the BFL and the nylon will make this very sturdy yarn. You'll also, it's also a high twist plied yarn. So I don't know if you guys can see this up close, but I don't know if you can see this, but it's the plies themselves are very round. You definitely get that sturdy high twist yarn. So that's the BFL sock base. That is launching right now at this very moment. First time you can buy it is right now. And then the last base is my DK weight base, which is made up of the same thing as sock. It's also a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon blend. It's just that thicker DK weight yarn. So also really soft, and I have a sample. I'll show you guys that one later as well. So those are the bases. Again, if you have questions, definitely put them in the chat and let us know. And I'm just bringing up the chat for myself so I can keep an eye on it too. All right, so now we'll get into the colors. Okay, ready? All right, so color number one, this is Orange Sorbet. And again, you can see it on the screen that Lisa's sharing or here in person. This is a new spring color that is a light orange peach color with just so many different speckles in it. You have blues and reds and pinks and yellows. I had a hard time deciding if this reminded me more of like Orange Sorbet with sprinkles or like a tropical sunset. So it has both of those fun feels that probably are really nice to think about now while we're all kind of stuck at home. So, and I'll show good pairings for this as we kind of go through colors, but personally, like this would make a great pair of socks in my mind. So just a fun, springy colorway. So that's Orange Sorbet. And then another new spring color that just recently launched for me is Speckled Orchid. This is, again, another good solo color. It's got fuchsia and hot pink, some greens and grays as well. And it's just a really fun color. This one reminds me, this was a colorway, so sometimes, and I can talk through inspiration for some of the colorways if you guys are curious. But this one I just kind of had the idea in my head, and it just reminds me of walking through a garden, and maybe there's like this stone wall there, and it has the bright pink flowers, and maybe it just rains, so you got the drops on the leaves and all the fun feelings that you get kind of walking through a spring day with all the fresh flowers and everything. So that is Speckled Orchid. And again, I can show you some pairings later on. So love the speckled orchid. Thank you very much. Okay, so am I good? Keep going. Anything we want to talk about? Okay. So the next color is actually what I'm wearing right now. So this is my rose tea color, and this is one of my shop's best-selling colors. I get orders for this regularly, comments on it, favorites for it. So this is definitely one of the top colors. It's a good, I almost think of it as like a neutral pink. I think it pairs really well with really blues and navies and everything. It's a pink tonal. It's almost got like a purple mauvey undertone with speckles of brown in it and just kind of like a brown layer as well. So again, that's what I'm wearing in this sweater. And this is, if you're curious, this sweater pattern is the Ernest cardigan by Joji Locatelli. And if you haven't seen it or knit it, definitely check it out. It's a textured pattern, but I knit it up pretty quickly and it fits so well. I can wear this to business casual clothes. I can wear it casually. It works with everything. It was a really, really great knit, and I definitely recommend it. And that being said, Lisa, do you want to talk about it? Because we didn't talk about giveaways yet.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. And in my nerves, I couldn't find the button. So that's where I'm at. Guys, we are going to be doing some giveaways today. Lauren is giving away patterns for the sample, a copy of the patterns of the sample project she's showing.
Right.
So the first giveaway we're going to do today is a giveaway of the Ernest cardigan pattern by Joji Locatelli. And what you got to do to enter is just comment on Instagram with the hashtag AGAHW trunk show, a girl in her wool trunk show.
Yeah. So that's how you can enter. You can also comment on the video too. We'll do it that way.
Once the video is out. So we're going to leave it open for the next 5 days, I believe we said we were going to do, so that people who were able to be here live will have an opportunity to take part in the giveaways, and people who watch it recorded will also have a chance.
Right.
All right?
Yeah.
Back to you, Lauren. I've always wanted to say that.
Yeah, as I was saying, I was like, we didn't talk about giveaways. So we'll have a few giveaways. I have a few samples that I'm going to show you guys. So we'll have giveaways for all of those patterns. So again, this is Rose Tea. It's a great neutral color. It's great for a textured pattern. Great to pair with a lot of other colors. And so, yeah. All right, so now the next sample that I have, which goes along with this colorway, is I knit a hat out of my graffiti colorway. And this is the 103 hat. So again, this pattern will also be a giveaway. Every sample that I show, I'll be giving away a pattern for. And you enter the same way. So you kind of just enter all together. And this was a great pattern. This is by Jennifer Lassonde. If you're in the knitting community, you might know her as Boston Jen. I knit this pattern in like 48 hours. It went so quick. It's on my DK base, which I have a skein of this here. So this is graffiti, if you want to flip to graffiti on the slides, which is a deep charcoal gray, but you get pops of the turquoise, and there's some gold and rust and peach, and it's just a really good dark color that just has the fun colors that you see as you knit. It kind of pops up there too. So that's my graffiti colorway. I'm not gonna lie, like even being in this sweater, I'm like getting very warm. Otherwise I would throw all these samples on and be covered in wool, but I'm not gonna do that right now. So that's graffiti. And I am going quickly. I feel like I'm talking really fast. So if anyone needs me to repeat anything, let me know. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not completely following the chat. So someone poke me if I need to see something.
Lauren, I'm going to chime in. I've got the chat covered. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's all good.
Okay, cool. All right, so we'll go on to the next. So again, if you're popping in and out, I don't know if people are popping in and out. All of these yarns are now available on Lisa's shop at aknitsheep.com. So any of these colors and any of the bases, you can go shop anytime, and they'll be there for the next few weeks. So the next sample that you can see, these are my 2 colored socks. You can see I knit them in alternating colors on the 2 socks. I used 2 color socks is the pattern name, and it's another pattern by Joji Locatelli. You can see I'm a fan of her. The 2 colors are Pebbles in the River and Love at First Sight. And again, I knit these kind of in opposite colors there. This was, again, I'm going to talk about the patterns too because they are fun. This sock, knitting this sock goes really fast. If you want to knit socks and have them go faster, I know someone out there who I'm talking to right now. But they go quickly because you have a stripe section, you have this fun lace section, and then by that point, you're at the heel. There's a fun texture actually on the sock, and then you're done. So if you want a fun textured sock pattern that will go quick, I definitely recommend this pattern. And again, that will be another pattern that we're giving away here. So those are those socks. And we can get into the 2 colors. So this is one of my favorite pairings, obviously, which is why I knit the pair of socks, but I would probably knit this into a shawl as well. Pebbles in the River is, I don't know, rose gold is really popular that we'll get to. But I think Pebbles in the River is my #1 most sold colorway. It's a deep blue-green with speckles of browns and just different colored. I think I have like peach and rust, and I feel like I'm saying peach a lot. So got those speckles in there. And then Love at First Sight, which I use in those socks as well, is more of a white base with speckles of gray and purple and pink. So they're a good contrast to each other that just really go really well together. And again, Pebbles in the River is a #1 bestseller. And then kind of a little behind the scenes thought of Love at First Sight is when I first started teaching myself how to dye yarn, I think Love at First Sight, this is an iteration of the second colorway that I ever dyed. So I remember I did like a blue tonal yarn. Like I just kind of threw blue dye in a pan and threw the yarn in and kind of saw what happened. And then with this one, I did more of like the speckle and the playing with the color. And I was just so amazed at how the whole process worked. And I knew it would become a colorway if I did open a shop. And that's why I called it Love at First Sight, because that is my feeling towards yarn dyeing. So that's kind of a behind the scenes thought on that color. So how are we doing? Good? Thumbs up? All right, so the next sample is my Ashbrook shawl. This, right, this is next, yes. This is a 3-colored shawl that you can see here. This is a pattern by Tammy Gore, who again is somebody I've knit multiple patterns from her, or multiple projects from her designs. She makes beautiful shawls in all different colors, and a lot of her patterns will switch, you know, she'll have multiple versions available. So if you like 2 colors or 3 colors, she'll have a lot of patterns set up that way. But this is the Ashbrook shawl, which I remember the first time I saw her post on Instagram, I was obsessed with this pattern right away. So it's a great pattern. It's one of the first projects that I was sad to cast off. I think I'm always so ready, probably like a lot of you, so ready to cast projects off and start the next new one. We always have like the next projects we're so excited about. But I was really sad to cast this one off. I love wearing it. And yeah, so we have kits for this setup that I have, these 3 colors that I'll show you available. So you could get all 3 of these colors if you want to make this pattern or another 3-colored shawl. They work really well together. So I'll go through those. So the first one is called Denim. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. It's a tonal blue denim color. And I made this one specifically to contrast with this color, which is Fourth and Goal. Fourth and Goal was originally a colorway for, I host a knit along, the Pigskin Party, if anyone has heard of it. So did a football theme named colorway there with Fourth and Goal. But this color is a really fun, like light pink and brown base. It's definitely a variegated yarn. There's a lot of speckles of the same blue that I used to make denim. So they do pair like perfectly because of that matching. And then you also have speckles of some pinks and brown in there too, and purple a little bit too. So this is a fun color that, again, like some of those early ones, I would definitely make a pair of socks out of. But if you like 2-colored shawls or 2-color accessories or sweaters, denim is a good one that pairs really well with that. And then the 3rd color that I used in my sample was Before the Rain, which is a light blue and gray tonal color with gray speckles on it. And again, this was a color I wanted to make because if any of you, like, in the summertime or anytime, you know that feeling when you're like out walking and you can just sense the rain is coming, like you can feel the rain coming. And I just like love that feeling. So I wanted to make a before the rain colorway. So it's kind of got that light sky blue color, but the clouds are kind of starting to roll in there. So again, those three pair really well together, and really any combination of the three go well together too. And then I also just wanted to bring back orange sorbet. I think orange sorbet and denim go really well together. So if you like this color but you wanted something to match with it, I would definitely pair denim with it. Okay, and that is the Ashbrook shawl. So we're gonna get into the exciting rose gold section. So if I'm gonna take a water break here before we get into that. If there are any questions, definitely let me know. Yeah, let me take a water break.
Hi. So I'm going to burst in while Lauren's doing her water break and remind you guys that if you want to participate in the giveaways, just post on Instagram with hashtag AGAHW Trunk Show, a girl in her wool trunk show. I also put it in the chat, and I'll put it in the chat again now. And we will be giving away a copy of the Two Color Socks by Hohio Locatelli, the Ernest Cardigan, also by Hohio Locatelli, and the Ashbrook Shawl by Tammy Gore, whose name I've been getting wrong every time I typed it in the chat, but I got it the third time. Hey, what's up, Lauren?
Is there anyone in the wait? There might be someone in the waiting room. I don't know if you.
Let me take a look.
Sorry, I just checked my phone too. Maybe not.
I don't see anyone in the waiting room at the moment.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, so let's talk rose gold. So, yeah, so we'll show my sample first. This is the star of the show. This is probably one of my favorite makes that I've ever made. This is the Time Trade shawl, which is such a nice lacy throw over anything type pattern, and I just love the gradient in it. I love the feather and fan kind of pattern in there, and this has been something that I've been obsessed with. So to make this, I used the first half of my rose gold gradient set, and we will actually be offering kits for this setup that I have here. So in that you would get the first 5 colors of the rose gold set, which is here, and then the 2 contrast colors that I use that we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, you can also, I know there have been some questions about kind of good patterns to use for gradient. I love this. You use 20-gram minis, 5 20-gram minis to make this. But the gradients that we're offering are 10, 100 grams. So you can actually do one of my whole gradient sets just in this section if you wanted to, or you can kind of extend it throughout the pattern. So I just wanted to throw that out there as a good gradient suggestion. But the other colors that I use in this one, the main color is Overnight Oats, and the contrast color is Golden Hour. And again, we have kits set up for that as is in Lisa's shop. So without further ado, we'll go through kind of the colors in there first. So this is Overnight Oats. This is one of my favorite colorways in the shop. It's a great neutral color that I seriously could go down this list and it would pair with all of them so well. I dyed this up recently, and I remember like opening kind of the pan. I'm like, oh, I just love Overnight Oats. And my husband was sitting there, he's like, me too. And he said it like so sincerely, and he really just like ignores me when I'm talking about yarn stuff. And the way he said it was like so sincere. So you even have his stamp of approval. But yeah, so this is Overnight Oats. It's a light brown cream base with speckles of like that deep cream and some gray as well. And again, I could go down the list. It'll pair with anything. I often show it with rose tea, which again is the sweater I'm wearing, which is like a beautiful, elegant, like kind of delicate pairing that is really nice. Again, it would go with either of my new spring colors if you want to do it with those. It's just such a great neutral that I have. And for background on the name, I eat oatmeal like all the time. If you guys know me, I eat oatmeal all the time. So there you go. That's the background of overnight oats. And then the contrast color that I used in the Time Trade shawl that will come in the Time Trade shawl kits is Golden Hour, which is a beautiful golden brown. And again, it's such a good neutral tonal that pairs with so many things. And like Lisa said at the beginning, it's a good metallic, subtle, great color. So, and I think this one too, you know, if you want, what's great about some of these is like there's depth to it. You get some of the brighter yellow and the deeper brown. And it just would make such a nice sweater that isn't too tonal, that it's one color. You still get some of that variation in there, but you wouldn't lose a pattern if you knit like something like this, like a textured pattern with it. So that's another thing that I love about Golden Hour. And then the last color before we go into the gradients, including the rose gold gradient, is Pinot Noir. And I often text pictures of my colors, and I know one of them is watching me right now, pictures of my yarn to my cousins, and they help me come up with colorway names. And one said, that reminds me of Pinot Noir. And I said, you mean Pinot Noir? And she was like, exactly, that's what I meant. So that's why we got a nice Pinot Noir colorway here to remind you of Pinot Noir, drinking wine and relaxing. And again, these just go so well together. So Pinot Noir, Golden Hour, and Overnight Oats is such a beautiful 3 colors. And if you need some 3-colored shawl recommendations, we have some kind of lined up and ready to go. But I love these 3 together. So that's kind of the big idea behind Time Trade shawl. And then we also have the gradient. So this is the always loved and admired rose gold gradient set. I'm actually showing this one on this is actually my BFL base here, but the Time Trade shawl kit, which you could order it in BFL or sock. But yeah, so again, it gradiates from that deep rose color through some lighter pinks and yellows, and then back towards that dark gold. And I mean, I love it. It definitely gets a lot of love. So I hope you guys all kind of love that too. And again, we can talk through more examples of what you could use, but you could use this set as is in the beginning of that shawl pattern there. That's just one example, but we have other pattern suggestions that we can kind of talk through more towards the end. So that's rose gold. And then that's it with the sample. So I just have some more gradients. And what we didn't tease everyone with is we will also be doing a very special giveaway at the end of the show. So stick around for that, because that is a good, fun giveaway that you'll want to see as well. So we're going to give away again all the patterns that we've mentioned, and then there'll be an even more special giveaway at the end. So the next gradient that I have is my Fairy Shadow gradient, which is a deep dark green, and it goes through a light gray and then back towards a deep dark purple. And something that I love about this one compared to kind of the rose gold one, which I put over here, the rose gold one is very tonal. Each skein is a tonal color. In Fairy Shadow, I really brought in some of the speckling and variation in there that you get to see, which I thought was a lot of fun. And you know, in terms of how I kind of came up with this, first of all, I have a video about it on YouTube. So if you're curious about how I dyed up this colorway, go check that out. But I really needed more green. I wanted more green in my colorways here, and then I just tested around, and I just loved how the purple played with this particular green. And then it reminded us of fairies, and I wanted to bring the shadow part from the gray and the black that you get throughout that gradient too. So that's fairy shadow. And I have no idea what time it is. 2:30, okay, good. All right, so those are those gradients. And then we have my newest gradient, or no, my second newest gradient, which is my spring gradient, is my spring rainbow gradient, which is a really fun pastel-y light rainbow. And each skein, so kind of talking about the differences between all of the gradients. For this one, I did a tonal color and then speckled that same color on top of it, which I thought was a lot of fun. So instead of kind of merging the rainbows together, each skein is a color with the fun speckles on it. And I do, in terms of recommendations for this one, like I think these colors would make great baby patterns. So if you want to do like a baby, crochet a baby blanket, or a cute little sweater for a baby. I mean, I think it would also be fun in other ways, but when I see this, I think of really cute baby knits. So if you have baby showers coming up or anything, I think this is a great idea for that one.
Hey, Lauren, let me chime in a minute for my crocheters.
Yes.
I was also looking at something called the Lighthouse Wrap by Rachel Nguyen that I think would go beautifully with any of those gradient sets because it's designed as a long crescent shaped wrap with little ends sticking out. I am going to try to put a link to the patterns in the chat. I'm just having a little difficulty, but you should start seeing patterns appearing, links to patterns appearing in the chat momentarily.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a knitter, so it's hard for me to think of the crochet patterns, but Lisa comes from a crochet family, so she's got to represent the crocheters there. So yeah, okay, so that was spring rainbow. And now for the second main event, I have a lot of main events, but this is the main event. We have our brand new neon unicorn. So again, backstory on this name here. I think I sent like, you know, after I dyed up Fairy Shadow, my cousin texted me and said, I need a gradient just like that, except it needs to go from teal to hot pink, and I'm gonna make a neon unicorn wrap out of it. But she doesn't knit or crochet or anything yet, so kind of, I think it was more, I also need to make that as well, but that text message became neon unicorn. So we have that turquoise to hot pink gradient, and when I was dyeing this up, I sent pictures of this to all family and friends who don't do yarny things, but I was just like, look at this, it's so pretty, I'm obsessed with this. And I've told Lisa this, but I had like a skein of this sitting on my work desk just so I could stare at it all day long. But anyway, this is neon unicorn. This is the new launched colorway just for today, brand new today. So that's that fun gradient. And then I of course have it also as a skein. So if gradients aren't your thing, you can also get neon unicorn as a regular skein. This is it on my sock base, and then this is it on BFL. So I don't know if you guys can kind of see how the color play differently in the different bases or the texture there, but this is my newest colorway, neon unicorn. So that's that. And again, it's such like Lisa said, I have a lot of subtle, like elegant colors, and then I'm getting you guys with these bright hot pinks and turquoise at the end there. So I hope you like it.
Hey, Lauren?
Yes.
Quick question from the chat.
Yeah.
People wanted you to point out the colors that are in the gradient sets that are also available as single skeins. Like the rose gold appears in some of your gradients, but it's also available as a single, and the neon unicorn.
Yeah, so neon unicorn, we have the gradient or the skein. Otherwise, I don't have specific skeins other than technically Golden Hour and Pinot Noir come from the outer edges of the rose gold, but I don't offer any of these colors as their own skeins. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay. So those are all the colors. I hope that was fun. I can go back through any of it. I can show fun pairings. We also have pattern suggestions for things. So I'll kind of turn this more casually now and see what people want to talk about. Again, all of these are currently listed in Lisa's shop. So if there's anything you saw that you had to have, go to aknitsheep.com and go shop it there. And yeah.
Also, Jane has declared that Neon Unicorn will be her I Survived Quarantine yarn.
Nice.
It's appropriate.
Everyone needs a neon unicorn to get through the quarantine. It's true. Like, what's going to save us but a neon unicorn?
And someone just suggested a pattern for the gradient. It's the poncho called, oh, it's called the gradient poncho. Duh. The easy wearing knit wrap.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think the gradients are great for some of those just like more basic, like less textured or not necessarily multicolored, you know, 3-colored shawl like the Ashbrook shawl that I showed, but there's a lot of good, just like, I think Tin Can Knits has one that's just a good triangular shawl, and you can really change the colors whenever you want. So patterns like that you see, and again, for knitters that are just like in stockinette stitch or just in garter stitch, that would be great for crochet. I'm sure they're good, similar type patterns like that too, but
Hey, Lauren?
yeah.
Maureen would like to know if you could please show some pairings with graffiti and pebbles in the river. So some things that go well with graffiti and some things that go well with pebbles in the river.
I will. So graffiti has kind of a lot of that gold in there. So I would definitely pair it with Golden Hour. Again, I think this one honestly fits in well with kind of some of those rose gold colors that I talked about. So it'll bring out that gold in there. And then graffiti also has some of the some pinks in there. So I think Pinot Noir, if you don't want like a bold contrast, that one would work well. I said this before, overnight oats goes with everything. So if you want even more subtle, that would be really nice. Yeah, and then the other one I think was Pebbles in the River. So again, I love that with Love at First Sight. That's the pairing that I showed. Again, I'm just gonna hold overnight oats in one hand this whole time. So those obviously go really nicely together. Let's see. Probably, yeah, you could do Golden Hour again if you like that. And even Before the Rain, like that light gray blue would go really nicely together. I hope that helps, Maureen.
We also have a question, I think, from Wendy. She'd like to see pairings with speckled orchid.
Speckled orchid. Let's see. Well, we could do a Pebbles in the River one. The greens in there would bring out the greens. We could also probably do, if you like pinks, I'm a pink person, so I think the pinks look nice together with rose tea. Again, probably Before the Rain. Before the Rain is another good, like, all around neutral color. Again, that's not so much bold contrast, so that would be nice. Again, like I said, I can hold overnight oats in one hand throughout all this. Probably denim too. That looks nice too with Pinot Noir. I don't know, I could go on all day. Is that good, Wendy? Do you get a good idea there?
Now, how do you decide what pattern would go well with a gradient? Because sometimes I do fall in love with a gradient, but when I get it home, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, so like that time trade shawl, that would be a good one. That one was made for a gradient. I did pull up some patterns that we can talk through. And really all I did for that was I went into Ravelry, I just went to patterns and I searched gradient. And that came up with like a million things. So whether you knit or crochet, you could even filter on knitting or crochet and just type in gradient. Again, I think ones that are really good too would just be some plain like stockinette, like even a sweater, like, or yeah, I have these on here, but any of those shift patterns that just came out with Andrea Mowry, like all of those shift patterns, you could use a gradient for those. What are some of the other ones I came up with? There was, oh, Stephen West has a new pattern out, the Painting Bricks shawl. If you haven't seen that, it's got like little sections of color, and then it has a contrast that kind of outlines all of the squares. So you could use the gradient for those squares and then just get a contrast color for that. Similarly to that is the Papillon shawl. I don't know if you guys have seen that one. That's a beautiful shawl that again has like little sections of it with outlines around it. So yeah, so in terms of like how I think about it, I use that feature in Ravelry, and then just really any like kind of less textured, more just plain pattern would go. Andrea Mowry also has her fade pattern. So like the Comfort Fade Cardi, you could do something like that with a gradient there too. Oh, advent patterns. So if you guys don't know, a lot of people put together advent calendars with yarn. So you would open up a little mini every day, and there are designers that create patterns because a lot of people don't know what to do with these advent minis that they get. Like Helen Stewart, Amber O'Brien, they do a lot of the advent patterns, which are a lot of shawls. I think Helen Stewart did a blanket or a cowl. So those are good ones to look up if you look for advent patterns too.
Hey, Lauren, we have a request. Could you hold up Pinot Noir, the rose and the gold together, please? Golden hour, I think she means.
Pinot
Is that it, Ruth?
and rose tea.
Thank you.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's really nice.
Don't forget to mute us. Sorry about that.
Yeah, those are nice.
And Wendy would like to know, what is the total yardage in the gradient sets?
So all of these gradient sets are 100 grams. So it'll depend on what base you pick. They're all 10-gram minis, and there are 10 of them in each set. So for the sock base, that would be a total of 463 yards. And the BFL sock, it would be 400 yards. And then the DK, there's 245 yards in each 100 grams. So it would depend on which base you pick. But they're all 100 grams, if that helps.
Could you just tell me the BFL yardage one more time? I'm putting it in the chat.
Oh, 400.
Thank you.
Some other gradient patterns I looked up earlier was, this is like an older pattern on the Spice Market, uses multiple colors and then like a main contrast color. That's a, who's the designer of that? She has like a million, Melanie Berg, I think is the designer of that one. Yeah, it looks like, I think I said everything I had on that list. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, definitely search gradient in Ravelry. You'll get like a million ideas there too.
And I'm gonna try to stick some links to the patterns that Lauren has mentioned in a moment. Now, let's say you find a pattern that's not necessarily for a gradient. What would you suggest someone do if they bought, let's say, a 100-gram skein, a 50-gram skein, and a gradient set? How would you divide up that pattern to say, okay, I'm going to use this part here, that part there?
This is a math problem.
I know, I put you right on the spot, right?
Luckily, I do math regularly. Okay, so 100-gram skein, a 50-gram skein, and a 100-gram gradient set. What would you do with it? I mean, you can make the time trade shawl. I think for that one, I used probably about 50 grams of golden hour. You use most of the main color. So that would be a good pattern. You could do like a color work sweater. So like use the gradient as the yoke and then do like, I guess if you had 100 gram and a 50 gram, you could do sleeves and body in different colors, but that's the idea. Use a color work yoke pattern.
So you're almost color blocking it, but
Yeah.
in large sections and small sections.
Yeah. You could also like stripe, like, again, obviously I'm a fan of Joji Locatelli's pattern. She has like a stripe sweater that you could like stripe the gradient, like do a skein of the gradient and then a skein of a plain color.
She has that classic 3-color cashmere cowl.
That's true. That's another good one. Yeah.
It works beautifully.
Yeah. And I'm sure after I'll like think of a million more, so.
Oh, Maureen would like to know, are these available now or are they ordered and then made?
A little bit of both. So I do have some available now, but others I do plan to kind of dye as they come in. So if you see something, and maybe it looks like we don't have enough, just send Lisa or me a message and we'll work it out.
Yeah, we'll get you what you need.
Yeah.
We're your yarn pushers.
But they are available right now on Lisa's shop.
Yes. We have one question from someone who missed the beginning. She says she wants to know what kind of yarn, wool, merino, superwash.
Yeah.
Also, I put into the chat, there is a program you can download that has the names of all the yarns, the bases, everything. But take it away, Lauren. Hit them with the bases.
Yeah, so they're all superwash. All 3 bases are superwashed wool. The sock base, so there are 2 sock bases. One of them is merino, so a superwash merino nylon blend. And then the other sock base is a superwash BFL and nylon blend. And again, for whoever missed it, the sock yarn is a light fingering weight and the BFL sock is a true fingering weight. So this one's a little bit thicker than this one, but both superwash. And then the DK base is like my sock yarn. It's 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. It's just a DK thicker weight yarn. And then I see, do I recommend sock or BFL sock for socks? So probably if you really aren't sure, if kind of the characteristics you're not sure about, I'd probably go with the BFL sock. BFL is sturdier, the high twist in it is sturdier, and I think even it being a little thicker, I think will help it last longer. That being said, I've knit socks with the regular sock weight yarn, and they'll hold up well because they have the nylon too. The merino is much softer, not much softer, but it is much, I said much again, it is softer than the BFL base. So if you're ultra sensitive, that could be a decision maker as well. But if you like both and you just want to know which is the true recommendation, probably the BFL sock will last longer.
And let me just chime in as a sock maker. I like a sturdier yarn for my socks. Me personally, I would use the superwash for shawls and that sort of thing. And I would use the BFL for actual socks that I plan to wear like regular socks.
Yeah. Any other questions? You're welcome.
Well, guys, if
Oh wait, I didn't announce the special special giveaway.
I knew there was something we needed to do. Okay.
I needed like a bell sound effect over here from someone sitting over there. So because I'm so grateful and thankful for everybody, I do want to give away a set of my Neon Unicorn gradient set. So again, you'll enter this the same way that you'll enter everything else. So it'll just be one super lucky winner that will win this gradient set, and I'll give away it on the sock base. So you won't get to choose. You'll get this one here, the 10 skein, 10 gram on the sock base. So thank you again. I really do appreciate this. I know everyone's world is kind of on the fritz right now, and I'm really glad we worked this out. And I'm so appreciative if you're here, family and friends supporting us, or yarn lovers supporting us. Thank you, and really do appreciate this.
And thank you guys too. I also appreciate this greatly, just you guys showing up at all. And someone just asked the $1 million question, where's the link to buy things? I just threw it into the chat, but you can go to the website at www.aknitsheep.com and just click the shop button. My actual shop website is kind of icky and complicated, so I don't bother with it, but there is a link you can copy and paste in the chat right now. That'll take you directly to the shop site. Oh, I see a new message. Oh, thank you. Thank you all for coming out today. This is our first time doing this, and I'm so grateful that you guys showed up.
Yeah. Lisa was the technical expert here. She got all this together. So thank you, Lisa, for doing all that. And yeah.
Is there any last questions before we go? Thank you, Maureen. Yay. Also, I'm going to throw the hashtag in the chat one last time. It's going to be hashtag AGAHW, a girl in her wool trunk show.
Yes, use that, share it with your friends, and we'll see you again.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day and stay healthy.
Yes, stay healthy. Bye.
Talk to you everybody later. And I'm just going to end the meeting now.
Okay, bye.
I didn't want to be all abrupt, but